Chapter 12, A Dangerous Proposal. The cold glow of the holographic displays cast long shadows across the makeshift lab. Luna sat quietly at the center, her pale hair reflecting the blue light. Around her, the room buzzed with tension, as if the air itself was thick with unspoken fears and unvoiced concerns. Thalron stood at the head of the room, his crystalline skin catching the light in an almost ethereal way. He was the anchor in the storm, yet even he knew they were on the brink of something far beyond their control. "I think it's time," Thalron began, his voice steady but with an undercurrent of gravity. "We need to consider the full integration of the air element with Luna." The room fell into a heavy silence. Every eye turned to Luna, who looked back at them with a mix of fear and resolve. She had known this moment was coming, but now that it was here, the weight of it settled in her chest like a stone. Derek was the first to break the silence, his voice sharp and incredulous. "You can't be serious, Thalron. We're talking about merging a child with an elemental force that could destabilize the entire planet. What if it goes wrong? What if it destroys her?" Thalron met his gaze evenly. "I understand your concerns, Derek. But suppressing the element isn't working. It's only a matter of time before it overwhelms her completely. This could be our only chance to stabilize it, and save her." Dr. Isla, who had been reviewing the data, chimed in with her own reservations. "The risks are astronomical, Thalron. Luna's body might not be able to handle that kind of power. Even if she survives the initial transfer, we have no idea what long-term effects this could have on her mind, her spirit. We could be turning her into something we can't even comprehend. Or," Thalron countered, "we could be giving her the strength to control it, to bring balance to this chaos." He turned to Luna, his voice softening. "But this decision isn't ours to make. It's yours, Luna." Luna felt every eye on her, the pressure mounting. Her heart raced, and for a moment, the air in the room grew heavier, the lights dimming slightly as if in response to her anxiety. She closed her eyes, trying to focus on her breathing as Thalron had taught her. The whispers of the wind filled her mind, not just chaotic noise but voices, each one pulling her in a different direction. She saw images flash before her eyes, the quiet village, her family, the storm that had nearly destroyed it all. She saw Thalron, his face full of quiet determination, and Derek, his stern features lined with concern. But most of all, she felt the storm within her, the power that frightened her but also felt right, like it was part of her all along. "I don't want to hurt anyone," Luna whispered, her voice trembling slightly. "But I can't keep living like this, not knowing when it might all just explode out of me." She opened her eyes, locking onto Thalron's. "I trust you. If you think this is the way, then let's do it." Derek's fists clenched at his sides, his exoskeleton creaking slightly under the strain. "You're asking too much of her, Thalron. This isn't just about controlling an element, this is about altering her entire being. You can't just make that decision on a whim." "It's not on a whim, Derek," Thalron replied, his voice firm but calm. "Every option we've explored leads back to this. Suppression won't work. Isolation will only delay the inevitable. The only path forward is through integration. We need to do this, for Luna, and for everyone else." The room erupted into heated discussion. Some of the scientists supported Thalron's decision, arguing that the data supported his theory that integration could stabilize the element and Luna herself. Others sided with Derek, insisting that the risks were too great, that they could be dooming the girl to a fate worse than death. "We could be creating something new," one of the younger scientists said, her voice trembling with the weight of her words. "But what if it's something we can't control? What if Luna loses herself completely in the process?" Thalron remained silent as the debate raged on, his eyes fixed on Luna. She sat quietly amidst the chaos, her small form dwarfed by the gravity of the decision that lay before her. Yet despite her fear, she felt a growing sense of determination. She was tired of being afraid, tired of not knowing when the storm inside her would break free. If this was the way to control it, to finally be free of that fear, then she was willing to take the risk. Finally, Thalron raised his hand, silencing the room. "Enough," he said, his voice cutting through the tension like a blade. "This isn't a decision we can make lightly, but it is one that needs to be made. Luna has made her choice. Now, we need to do everything in our power to make sure she survives it." The makeshift lab was filled with a tense, almost electrified silence as the team prepared for what would be their most daring and controversial move yet. Luna sat at the center of it all, her small figure dwarfed by the complex machinery surrounding her. Her heart raced, but she kept her breathing steady, as Thalron had taught her. This was it, the moment she would either become something greater or be consumed by the elemental force that had haunted her every step. Thalron stood by the control panel, his crystalline fingers hovering over the controls. "Luna," he called softly, drawing her attention. "Are you ready?" Luna nodded, her pale hair catching the dim light. "I'm ready," she whispered, though her voice carried a weight beyond her years. Inside, she felt the storm stirring, a growing anticipation that mirrored her own. With a nod from Thalron, the process began. The room filled with a soft hum, the energy modulators around Luna lighting up one by one. The air in the room seemed to thicken, pulsing with an unseen power. Luna closed her eyes, focusing on the steady rhythm of her heartbeat, letting it guide the flow of energy as Thalron had instructed. Suddenly, the air around her shifted. A powerful surge of energy rushed into her, filling her every cell. Luna gasped, her eyes snapping open as she felt the element's power flooding her senses. It was overwhelming, a force that threatened to tear her apart from the inside. But she held on. "Breathe, Luna. Focus on the rhythm," she heard Thalron's voice, calm and steady, cutting through the storm raging in her mind. She clung to his words like a lifeline, grounding herself in the chaos. As the energy coursed through her, Luna's body began to change. The first sign was her hair, once a stark white, it darkened rapidly, turning a deep, rich blue, like the sky at dusk. The transformation spread through her once pale, almost translucent skin now glowing faintly with an ethereal light. Her veins, once hidden beneath her skin, became more prominent, glowing with a blue-purple hue as the elemental energy pulsed through them. Her eyes, once a soft gray, now burned with a vibrant blue, glowing with a light that seemed to come from within. It was as if she had been remade, not just in spirit but in form, a living embodiment of the air element itself. The room pulsed with energy, the machinery around her straining under the force of the integration. Luna's body lifted slightly from the chair, suspended in the air by the raw power flowing through her. Her hair whipped around her face, carried by a wind that seemed to originate from nowhere and everywhere at once. Derek watched in awe, his usual stoic expression faltering. "Incredible," he muttered, his eyes fixed on Luna's transformation. "I've never seen anything like this." Thalron, too, was mesmerized, but his focus remained on Luna's well-being. "Luna," he called out, his voice strong but filled with concern. "Stay with us. Don't let the energy overwhelm you." Inside, Luna could feel the power trying to overtake her, pushing her to lose control. But she fought back, digging deep into herself, into the memories of her life before this, all the simple moments, the quiet joys, and the love she had known. She anchored herself to those memories, using them to ground the storm within. Slowly, the energy around her began to calm. The winds that had swirled chaotically through the room settled into a gentle breeze, and the light emanating from her dimmed to a soft glow. Luna's feet touched the ground again, her body still trembling with the aftershocks of the transformation, but she was whole, changed, but whole. The room was silent, everyone holding their breath as they waited for her to speak, to signal that she was all right. Luna looked up, her bright blue eyes locking onto Thalron's. "I'm okay," she said, her voice steady but tinged with the awe of what she had just experienced. Thalron let out a breath he hadn't realized he was holding. "You did it, Luna," he said, a proud smile breaking through his usual calm demeanor. "You've mastered the element." Derek stepped forward, his eyes scanning her changed form. "How do you feel?" he asked, still cautious, still concerned. Luna took a moment to assess herself. She felt different, stronger, more aware, as if she was connected to something far greater than herself. "I feel Powerful, she admitted, her gaze drifting to her glowing blue veins. But also, in control. It's like the storm inside me has found its calm. Thalron placed a gentle hand on her shoulder. This is just the beginning, Luna. You've taken the first step, but there's still much to learn. We'll be with you every step of the way. Luna nodded, feeling the truth in his words. She wasn't alone in this journey, and for the first time, she felt ready to face whatever came next. As the lab slowly returned to its normal state, Luna stood at the center, a new force in the universe, a girl transformed by the very power that once threatened to consume her. The air around her was calm, but beneath the surface, there was a quiet strength, a storm waiting to be unleashed, now bound to her will.